today's episode of The Daily Blend. I am your host, AC, and we are joined in studio today by Bry Reine, and she is a agent, Bry Reine Agency, American Family Insurance.
Yes.
I got it right, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so, when you hear insurance, like my eyes generally glaze over when I hear insurance. But you are here to give us 4 insurance tips that probably everybody should know about.
Correct.
So let's talk about those.
Yes. So my first tip is always to review your policies with your agents. Most agents will reach out to you and say, hey, do you want to come in, review your policies? I always recommend it because there's so many times you don't have coverage that you think you might have, or you don't have enough coverage. So that's number one, is just review your policies with your agent.
That's so basic, right?
Right.
Like just look over your policy, because there is nothing worse, I will say, than when something happens. Correct. And you think you have a certain coverage. You assume you have a certain coverage, and then something happens and you find out you don't.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. So you're asking us to be proactive.
Yes, yes. Find the few minutes and just review your policies.
Okay.
Is my number one tip.
Okay.
It will save you in the future.
Okay, we can all do that. We can all do that part.
Yes.
Okay, what else?
Number 2 is, so state minimum limits on your auto insurance is just not adequate. It's not enough. The reason why I say that is it's only $25,000 for property damage or even liability. So what that means is if there is an accident or an injury that you caused and it's more than $25,000, that's coming out of your pocket. And that hurts. And nowadays, you can't even buy a new vehicle for $25,000. So that's not enough.
Yeah.
So
what happens is the bare minimum that you need, right, to be considered insured, right?
Yes.
It's the basic kind of liability.
Yes.
And so we tend to go with that because it's less expensive, right? But how much more expensive on average is it to add, a little more coverage?
Seriously, less than probably $4 a month.
Yeah.
Like it's where when you increase your limits, you're like, that was it?
Yeah.
Like, oh goodness, you know, but you do whenever you shop, especially if you shop online, you just kind of choose the options and you don't kind of think twice about it. But when you start looking at it and kind of reversing into it, then you're like, oh goodness, that is not enough. And I don't want to pay out of pocket in the event of a loss.
Yeah. And I guess you don't really, when you're shopping for it, you're not thinking about what could happen.
Exactly.
And really, that's the whole point of insurance.
Exactly.
Right? You feel like, oh gosh, I've been paying this insurance. But the minute something happens, boy, are you glad you have it.
Exactly.
Boy, are you glad you have it. Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to read over our policies, and we are going to make sure that we have a little more than the state required minimum on auto.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. And then my third tip is just simple, is review your discounts. There's so many discount options out there now that you may be missing out on. Even just simple as paperless, getting everything in your email versus having it all mailed to you. It'll save you more money than you realize.
Okay.
So just review your discounts. Even whatever insurance company you're with, go on their website and look to see what discount options they have and what interests you. Reach out to your agent and say, hey, how much is going to save me to add this discount to my policy? It will save you more than you realize.
And a lot of times those discounts are things that you already have going on, right? And you just don't, multi-car is a thing.
Yep.
What else? Like if you have your home and your auto
bundling it
connected. I feel like with our home insurance, because we have an alarm system.
Yes.
A fence. Like it's all these things that you probably already have.
Yes.
But maybe you just haven't said, hey, can I get a discount for that?
Correct. Yep.
Multi-drivers, maybe?
Yes. All of it.
That? Okay.
Safe driving, all of that. So most definitely review your discounts.
How do they know you're a safe driver? Is it because you have
They run
tickets?
your MVR.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
As long as you don't have any tickets.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, hopefully we don't have any tickets. And so I don't know. When you get those young drivers, though.
I know.
They
hurt.
They do. So, before you go to your next tip, I have to say, I have all daughters, right? I don't have any sons. And so I have friends who have sons, and they say that when they add their sons to their insurance, it goes up.
It does.
What are they? I'm just
unfortunately,
curious,
it's proven there. Unfortunately, the number one loss is teen drivers. And a lot of times it's boys.
Yeah.
It just seems girls are more conservative-ish, they're more nervous drivers than boys kind of get off and ready to go and that kind of stuff.
And so the data shows that. And so that's what happens with the insurance. And so that's one of those times where my husband and I can sit back and be like, yeah, we don't have that issue. Because, he gets drove all the time about having no sons. Until they start talking about when they turn 15 and they're in the house and their insurance shoots up sky high. Exactly. So we're like, no, we didn't have that issue. We have a very prudent woman driver in our house. Right. She's very prudent. Okay. So that makes sense. That's why that goes up. Okay.
Correct, yeah.
What's next?
Most important, the very last thing is life insurance. Some is better than none.
Yeah.
And make sure you have something outside of work. Employment changes so often, and you can't take that life insurance with you. And unfortunately, I've seen it. I've had all my own personal stories where life insurance keeps you in your household, keeps you in that same life. And just review what life insurance you have. What you had 10 years ago may not be enough now. So life insurance is just so important, and just make sure you have some.
Yeah.
Period.
That is important. And, thinking about the work piece, a lot of times you work somewhere, especially if you've been working somewhere for a long time, and you think, oh, I have this policy. But I guess the minute you're done at that position, that place, then your insurance is also kind of done. Like, you're right. You can't take it.
Correct.
So what did term, universal, like what do all of it?
We've got term, we do whole life, you do universal life, and it all depends on your situation as to what's a good fit for you.
Okay.
And that's something you can review with your agent too. Is just saying, here's my position, doing a life analysis, and what do I actually need and what can fit in my budget.
Okay. That's a really good one. Probably something that a lot of us can take a look at. Like, what do we have now? What could we add? And you're right. Things do change. Situations change.
Absolutely.
So, okay, those are all really good. So just before we go, we're going to recap. So we're going to read over our policy with our agent, right? We're gonna do more than the state minimum on auto insurance. We're gonna check for discounts.
Yes.
And then we're gonna make sure we have some life insurance.
Absolutely.
Oh, those things are also very important. All very important. Thank you so much, Bry, for joining us and giving us those tips. Sometimes hearing them out loud is a good reminder that it's time to brush up on our insurance coverage. Make sure we have what we need.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you for joining us. So